adventure right now as I've never been before to know the mind of God. I think there was so much lacking, and then you begin to understand the mind of God, so many things that are happening. That's why we've been so long in this covenant. We're teaching on covenant, their main covenants of God. God always cut a covenant, but their main covenants that God has cut that we can hold Him accountable to. And our ignorance, a lot of us don't understand the covenant. When you don't understand this covenant, you find yourself leaning to your own understanding more than ever before. There's a teaching that I'm in the process of getting into now, especially for young people, to understand why your mentality is as it is as a black person in this United States. Because your mentality has been trained to function as you function. Yes, even to a point of neglecting God. Because Satan always comes against that which is best of God's mind for your life. And what he does is that he intrudes on that which is true to make a lie look right. He intrudes on your life in such a way that even traditions that work in time past are not working now. It's not that they were wrong, they were just for that season. And so we miss so much because we are out of position in the framework of time that God has in mind for each one of us. If the parent don't understand, what can they teach their children?
Amen.
If the children are not learning properly, what will they teach their children?
Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying?
Amen.
I find myself, and I have to repent from it, I'm transparent with y'all, but I find myself saying to God, I don't know why we have grandchildren. Because the world is so diabolical right now, you don't want grandchildren coming up in this world that's so terrible, that's being influenced to go to the left side when you're trying to keep them down the proper pathway.
That's right.
And you know that where they're going is destructive. And you're trying to tell them, but the system is so strongly built in their minds and their ignorance that they believe that what they think is the right way and it's the destructive way.
Yes.
You look at parents that are training children wrong, and you older than they, and you brought children up that as old as they are, and you are trying to tell them what you are doing is wrong. The way that you're handling it is wrong, but they think they are right because in their sight, how they came up was improper. And so the children, they're going down the drain. The Bible tells you that the parents will eat sour grapes in time past and the children's teeth be on their ears, or the tyrant can blow in the wind and it reaps the whirlwind. But God is saying now to you children, don't say that no more. Why? Because the teaching today is for you to change. It's up to you.
That's right.
You're hearing enough truth right now. There's enough truth in the earth right now for us to make the proper decisions.
Amen. Amen.
Yesterday was yesterday.
Yes. Right.
You understand?
Amen.
Today is the present for you to change.
Amen.
For when the future gets here, the change would have been made in the generation that is behind you. There is nothing as constant as change. Change is inevitable, and the only thing you can do with change is control it. You manage change in a way. I've watched lately people that want so much from God, but doing nothing for God. They do a great imitation of how they care for God, and they do a great imitation to present themselves as if they are doing for God. But it ain't happening. Now, at the same time, don't get this confused. There are those who truly love God and those who are walking in the essence of His mind and in the fullness of His purpose, but they're still having hard times. You know why? God is trying to make you see if you can prove yourself. Tell your neighbor you're in a proving ground.
You're in the proving ground.
It's a time frame that we've got ahead right now that I'm telling you, the just must live by faith. I'm telling you, there's a time frame in the season of our mind right now. We've got to seek the heart of mind of God like we've never done before. The things you do for the world will begin to happen quickly. As you begin to function in them steadfastly, you see them start happening quickly. Why? Because the God of this world is pleased. The God of this world is pleased. It took 21 days for the answer to get to Daniel because the God of the world was angry. The God of the air blocked everything out. He didn't want it to get to Daniel, but God eventually got it there. Daniel had to hold on until it got there. Some of us are in that position right now. You got to hold on until the answer gets there. Is it easy? No. Will you get hurt in the midst of it? Yes. Are you hearing me? I want you to keep in mind, we're dealing with the covenants of God. God is faithful. It's the main topic of the message, but we've had several subtopics in this one message here. And God has brought about a covenant that He gave to Abraham, a covenant that He gave to Isaac and to Jacob. And we ourselves have a covenant. There's a covenant with the church. You understand that? We went to a diamond covenant, and we know that in every covenant there's a promise and a condition and seal for the protection, and it's sealed by God. Many of us form a covenant with darkness that is sealed by darkness. And what are we looking at and where are we going is a big question. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? Yeah. I'm telling you, in this world, Jesus has said it clearly, but we have not experienced it in the United States. However, it's on the way. In this world, you can have tribulation like you've not seen before. There's going to be suffering like you've never seen before. Decisions must be made in order that people may get in the right place to where God intended them to be. Will it be easy? I don't know. I don't know why God didn't allow us to see what went on to Joseph in prison. All we know about Joseph while in prison was that the people found favor with him because he was walking with God. We knew that he walked with God. That's the best thing we know. Yeah. So we don't know. It said like when they first started unleaded gas, it said that put unleaded fuel in the tanks of this car. They never expressed to you what will happen if you put leaded in there. And they were phasing leaded out. But if you put leaded fuel in an unleaded vehicle, everything breaks loose. Everything is destroyed. So what God has done, He's given us laws and regulation that God has placed in position. You understand? Men make rules. You do this and you do that. The rules of men, rules are easily broken. A man that make the rule will break the rule. But man is not king. Amen. And king set laws, whatever the king says, the king set laws, and things will move according to the law. If you do not function according to the king's law, there is a consequence that happened to you. In the covenant of God and the laws of God that we're supposed to promise. We saw the Adamic covenant, and the earth went through the changing because man, in his rebellious nature, decided to do what he wanted to do. Listen, the tree of good and evil is still functioning in the earth today. It has not been removed. Some of you sitting before my face today are rebellious and don't want to get to where God intended it to be. But you have to make your mind up. You're going to get there. Now, will it be easy? No, it's not going to be easy. Anything worthwhile having is worthwhile fighting for. And many times we make the wrong decisions, and the wrong decisions that you will think are the wrong decision is because God's hands is not in it. Because God, here's what He said. He said, I'll make your mistakes turn right on your behalf. You understand? Amen. So even though we made the wrong mistakes, because our hearts are walking with God and our hearts are right with God, He'll turn around that which is meant for the bad for your good. Yes. Amen. But you have to be fully sold out with a strong determination to walk with God according to His plans and according to His purpose. Are you hearing me? Amen. You conclude in your lifetime, and I know this will probably not go well with people, that in your lifetime with children and grandchildren, you become an advisor.
Yeah.
And what you do, you know how to separate being an advisor from allowing the loads of their life to be on you.
That's right.
It's not easy, but you got to get there. The Bible said this way, you help one another bear the burden, but be careful how much you carry, lest you yourself become downloaded with it. That's my version. Amen. Do you get it? Yeah. So I am looking as I get older into the lives of those around us, including our grandchildren. And you advise them, this is best for you. Give it a try and watch it work. But it is their desire, is their equal rights with God, their will with God, to do what they want to do. You hear what I'm saying? Amen. Now here's the understanding. When you choose to do what you want to do, remember the consequences. I have learned, hear me, it's going to sound terrible on the side of the broadcast and everything else. I have learned to cut loose from me the decisions that my children and grandchildren make for their own when they ignore the advice that I've been given.
Amen.
You know what I've discovered? Life is so much better like that.
Mm-hmm.
Why? You can't live another person's life.
That's right.
You can't make anybody do anything.
Yeah.
God himself said it this way. You are lacking knowledge. You are perishing and you are being destroyed because you are lacking knowledge. And so because my will is not for any to perish, I'm going to send you the knowledge that you need. Now, when you reject this knowledge, no longer are you just rejected by rejection. You rejected by me. I don't rejection. And your children are rejected by me and rejection. Why? God had nothing against them. God and his word are one. If he sent his word to heal you and you reject it, then you reject God. If you reject the truth, what will you teach your children?
Amen.
Some of you before my face right now, understanding, well, my parents were just not right. My parents, y'all just didn't do the right thing. So I'm going to do different with my children. Tell me what's going on with your children. This is across the board now, I'm telling you. Because the liberality of the millennium today is something different. Are you hearing me? And so we've got children that are weaker, wiser. The Bible tells you that. Children in the days, they're weaker but wiser, and they think they're right, they think they're strong, they think they got it going on, but they're headed into destruction. I pray for our children and grandchildren all the time. But prayer is only accepted to the point it's accepted by those you're praying for. You can pray all day. And if someone does not decide to give up the things they're doing, ain't nothing going to happen. Are you hear what I'm saying to you? Samuel, you remember Samuel and Saul?
Yes.
God came to Samuel in the midst of prayer and said to him, get above your knees. Don't talk to me but that one no more. I didn't give up on them. Why? Saul decided. Saul decided. You hear what I'm saying?
Amen.
That he can do his own thing. Folk don't like to hear this teaching. I'm not rushing myself. I want you to hear that some of you headed to destruction. Some of you have made up your minds you can do what you're going to do. Destruction is at the end of your journey if you don't turn around.
Amen.
You hear what I'm saying to you?
Amen.
Some of you parents are going to have to make decisions. Your child don't belong to you. Your child was placed in your hands to be good steward, to train them up in the proper way that they should go, that when they are old, they will not depart from it. There is no right way to compromise truth. You understand? I don't know. Listen. Even God Almighty, the creator of everything, the creator of everything, had to turn his back on his son at a certain stage in life. Did he say he loved them less? No. Listen to the next statement. This is hard right here. He chose to be where he was. God did not force Jesus to the cross. Jesus knew what was necessary to go to the cross, so he volunteered to go. He said, no man took my life. I give it up. But in the process of giving it up, I do only those things I hear my Father think or I saw him do, and I'm functioning accordingly. Why? Because I want to fulfill the purpose that's in the mind of God. And sometimes when you walk into the purposes in the mind of God, it could be a singularity. You walk alone. In the midst of what was the right thing Jesus did, on the cross, God could not even look upon him because he could not look upon sin. But he Jesus chose to be in the place where he became sin. Let's try this other side. I know this different. He became what was necessary for the deliverance of you and me.
Amen.
And while he was in that form, God could not look upon him, because to look upon him would have been death to him. In other words, there are times when you are fulfilling the plans and purpose of God for your life, and for the sake of God and for the sake of mankind, when you are in a situation where God himself is not there with you. But the just must live by faith. And for the first time you hear Jesus cried out, my God. He always referred to him as Father. My God, my supplier, where are you? In the midst of all of this journey, midst of all this hardship, young people, I'm talking to you today. You're going to remember this message. You are going to remember this message. I hear the Spirit of God say, you're rejecting, you're turning your head, you're looking left and you're looking right. You better take this message and you better hear this message. You are going to need this message. You're going to be as the prodigal was. You're going to need the message. The Bible tells you that when the prodigal came unto himself, in other words, when he remembered who he was and what was taught, he said, I will arise and go. You got to know that you know that you know that in this message with the covenant of God stands firmly. It's useless to you when you don't work it. Because in God's covenant, there's an agreement. In the midst of the agreement comes the success that you're seeking and looking to have. Are you hearing me? And so we see in the Adamic covenant that God gave Adam all that was needed, and entire the earth, everything was there. Listen to this one. Satan was so bold in knowing what he had that he said to the creator of what he had, worship me and I'll give it to you. Let me try this side. Y'all sleeping today. Should I need to stop. Let's go home. Satan was so strong in what he had, in believing that it is absolutely his own, that he said to the one that created it, bow down and worship me, and I'll give you that. You're renting my house, and you're going to tell me, if you do that, you let me have my house.
Yeah.
Do you know how ridiculous that sounds? But Satan believes that he's got all of that going for him. The sad part about it is that he's convinced people that he does.
Amen.
Including those who call themselves saints. And so we find ourselves coming against God and coming against his plan, and we find ourselves breaking covenant with God. Not fully walking in the plans and purpose that he's laid out for our lives before the foundation of the earth. Covenant is everything. And because covenant is so important, God cut covenant and swore by himself, so that he could not break covenant. He said laws and places, and when the king speaks, the laws forever established ain't going to be changed. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
The church is where it is right now because the church doesn't understand true covenant. The church doesn't understand the God that they serve. The church doesn't understand the Savior that delivered them. The church doesn't understand the Holy Spirit who's been sent to lead and to guide us into all truths. And what he does, he works it from youth. The least thing young people want to hear is about God. Unfortunately, the millennium today don't insist that the children get to know about God. Oh, they take them to the road. Let's go to church if you feel like it. If you don't feel like it, it's all right too. Are you hearing me?
Amen.
And so we're missing covenant. Adam and Eve decided to do their own thing, break covenant. Thank God it wasn't sealed.
Yes.
Because if it had been sealed, we'd have been sinful the rest of our lives and not being able to make it into the kingdom. You understand that?
Yeah.
We have to make our minds up, and then the next covenant with Noah. He told Noah what was necessary. I'm going to wipe the earth dry. Noah spoke 125 years trying to get the people together, just like you're consistently hearing truths over and over and over again. The problem about rejecting truth is this. You've heard it so often, and then you heard it the first couple of times, you believed it. But then it took so long to manifest itself, you think it's a lie. And suddenly a lie starts floating into your mind that you've made the lie a truth. You know how many people are living the truth and it's a lie? Did that make sense to you? In their minds it's the truth. In the reality of God is a lie. Do you know how many people are helping to build a kingdom that is truth and laughing at it, thinking it's a lie? And when it's time for the manifestation to come forth that they help to build is there, that they themselves are not a part of it. Lord did not do this. Lord did not do that. Depart from me, he replied, I never knew you. And here you help build. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Covenant are built from promises. Covenant are fulfilled from condition. Covenant are protected according to obedience. Because everything has to be fulfilled in order for the manifestation of those things to happen. In the world today, people don't want anything in the proper time. Everybody want to get pregnant tonight and have a baby tomorrow. Nobody want to go through the discomforts. Nobody want to take a track to the proving ground. You understand? While walking through the proving ground, you're going to have boring times. While walking through the proving ground, you're going to have hardship and disappointments. All of these things are necessary. Crisis are the greatest thing that can ever happen in your life. Because the purpose of crisis is to pull you out that you become what God intended. crisis is not beat down by those who give up. Because you are going to have it. Jesus said in this world, he called it tribulation. It's called crisis. In this world, you can have tribulation. In this world, you can have crisis. You can't get around them. But who is abiding in you? Which one has the greater strength in you? I'm telling you, it is easy to give up. And whatever you are going through, if there's been a failure along the journey, there's a failure along the journey because there is something that you are not doing that fits the category of God. In putting a puzzle together, you have so many pieces that look alike and look that they will fit in the same position, but they won't. They're about a little short centimeter off. If you try to force it, it tears up the piece. It has to fit in. The piece that fits there fits right in properly. You tap it and it fits right in. Your life is designed by God like that. You could come so close doing it your way. You could come, oh God. You can come so close that I'll praise God and your heart is right for a season. I'm talking to some folk in here right now. Your heart is right for a season. You've been disappointed. Your life has been blown out. Everything seemed to be falling apart. There was some truth that was given to you, and now the truth is becoming alive. You said, okay, I'll try this truth right here because I've been told. And then when you try the truth, things start flowing easily for you. And when things start flowing easily for you, the truth starts to be compromised. Where you at one time in the midst of the disappointment now, where God will begin to turn things around, to get it back. An airplane, if you miss your route, an airplane can't just do this like a car. An airplane has to go all the way around, this way, all the way around, to get back on course. But God in your life works in a similar manner. You've made the wrong mistakes. You've taken the wrong journey. And you cried out to God, okay, God, help me. And your heart was good for that moment. But in the midst of the turn, you go back to where you were. And the hands of God back right up. Just when things are supposed to work right, the hands of God move. Yes. And you miss it by an eeny point. Hear what I'm saying? Amen. That's because in your life God has appointed you to do some stuff that's important for the welfare of others. And if God allows you to continue to go the way that you are going, and things be manifested in your life according to His plan, you will not change. You will continue walking that same avenue of death and sin and thinking that you are so brilliant and you are so intelligent that you don't need God.
Yes. Yes.
I'm telling you where we are right now. But you see, God's covenant stands forever. But the covenant is based on the condition. The covenant is simply a promise that He made based on the condition that you must do, and then He sealed it with His word. You look at it, Adam blew it. Noah come out, he blew it. And now you got Abraham. Later on, Abraham, number 3, came along, and a covenant of promise was formed between him and God. In Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 to 3, it says, the Lord said to Abram, leave your country and your people, your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. I'll make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you. Whoever curses you, I'll curse, and all the people in the earth will be blessed through you. That's obedience. God made a covenant through obedience. You hear what I'm saying to you? Your obedience is extremely important. And yet, in the midst of that obedience, He took Lot, what was a family member. That's why I'm trying to tell you, in the midst of this journey, as I get older, I'm discovering a lot of things. You can't make no one do anything. And in the midst of your journey, you keep on doing what you know that God says to do. When God says, cut it off, cut it off. I can do that. And it hurts sometimes, but I can do that. You see, you have to understand this, family. I'm coming to a strange conclusion in my life. You're only temporary in my life. You hear what I'm saying to you? You're only temporary. And what I do, I seek the mind of God for what I'm supposed to do in your life in this temporary period. Because the temporary period is helping me establish eternity. And so I seek, that's children, that's grandchildren, that's husband, that's wife, that's saints of God. Jesus said, one day you're going to look for me, but you'll not find me. I've done what I said I'm going to do. I'll make available for you to have this. And I will go to make an intercession for you here. But you have to come to the conclusion to do that before this can happen. Now, if Jesus can do it, why shouldn't I? Are you hearing what I'm saying? Especially when you come to an age of accountability. He told Abraham, leave. What did God do? In Genesis chapter 15, verse 17 through 18, he says, when the sun had gone down, and it was dark, behold, a smoking fire pot and flaming torch passed between the pieces. On that day, the Lord made a covenant with Abraham, saying, to your offspring I give this land. And he named the boundaries of the land that he'd given Abraham. God has chosen. God is not a respecter of person. God has chosen the territory for you that you are most effective in, but it'll only happen when you walk according to the covenant. I want you to notice that in order for this to be effective, God had to cut a covenant. God